Sometimes revenge doesn't need to be loud or violent. Sometimes the most satisfying justice comes from someone who simply says, enough. This is the story of a sailor who was pushed too far, and the quiet chaplain who made sure his tormentors lost everything. If you've ever watched someone cruel get exactly what they deserved, hit that like button. And if you believe karma always finds its way, subscribe because today's story proves it better than anything else I've read. This isn't technically my revenge story, but it's one I had the privilege to witness. And trust me, watching justice unfold up close was one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen. It starts at the submarine base in Connecticut, where I was stationed during my time in the Navy. That's where I met Bill, a good friend I'd known since boot camp. We were in the same A school class together, training for our future jobs. Bill wasn't what you'd call the perfect soldier physically. He was short, wore glasses, and yeah, a little on the chubby side. But the guy was smart, really smart. He was training to be a sonar tech, and honestly, he would have been incredible. He had this calm, logical way of seeing things, like nothing rattled him. But the Navy, like any system, has its bullies. And Bill, he became their favorite target. In our training class, we had two petty officers, instructors technically, who thought they were Navy SEALs. These guys lived and breathed toughness, always bragging about their workouts, their running times, their push-up counts. Problem was, our job had nothing to do with that. We weren't combat soldiers. We were data and sonar specialists. It was a thinking man's field, not a muscle contest. But that didn't stop them from trying to turn every day into Boot Camp 2.0. 3 times a week, we had PT, physical training. Most of us managed fine. Bill kept up too, maybe not at their level, but he passed the Navy's official standards every single time. And that should have been enough. But not for these two. They'd call him fat, lazy, slow. Why are you even here? They'd say. You should just quit. Do everyone a favor. And when that didn't break him, they went darker. They told him he was useless, that the Navy didn't want guys like him. And then one day, I heard them say the words that still make me sick. Maybe you should just kill yourself. Yeah, that actually happened. Bill didn't complain. He kept showing up, kept trying harder than anyone else. But during one of those forced runs, he hurt his knee badly. The on-base doctor checked him out and put him on light duty for recovery. He had paperwork, official Navy documentation. But when he told the petty officers, they laughed. "You think a doctor's note gets you out of work?" one of them said. "You're doing PT tomorrow or you're done." So, he did. And he made it worse. Day by day, the injury got more serious, and so did the toll on his mental health. Back then, mental health services in the Navy weren't really a thing. If you were struggling, the only person you could really talk to was the chaplain. Ours was a kind woman, gentle, calm, and with the rare ability to actually listen. And she wasn't just kind, she was powerful. She held the rank of captain. Bill scheduled a meeting with her. But when he told his petty officers he'd be missing part of class for it, they lost it. They yelled, called him weak, said only pussies talk to chaplains. They told him nobody would care, least of all her. And to make it worse, they promised things would get harder if he didn't show up for training. So, Bill canceled the meeting. That night, his girlfriend broke up with him too. Everything hit him at once. At 3 a.m., I got a call from Bill. When I answered, all I heard was silence. Faint breathing, maybe? I asked if he was okay. Nothing. After a minute, I figured it was just a drunk dial. Sailors do that a lot after rough days. I hung up. It's one of those decisions that haunts you. The next morning, everything changed. I got a call from Bill's ex. Her voice was shaking. She said, "Bill's in the hospital. He slit his throat." I froze. Turns out a few of our friends had gotten that same call from him at 3 a.m. He just couldn't speak. We dropped everything and rushed to the hospital. When we arrived, the chaplain was walking out of his room. She stopped, looked at us, and said quietly, "He's going to be okay." Then she paused. Her face, this normally sweet, gentle face, changed. I saw something there I'll never forget. Pure, burning rage. And that's when I knew someone was going to pay. Bill survived. Barely. He missed his carotid artery by a millimeter. The doctor said if it hadn't been cold that night, if his blood hadn't clotted just enough to form a patch, he wouldn't have made it. When he could talk again, he told us everything. About the petty officers, about canceling his chaplain meeting, about believing no one would care. And when the chaplain heard it all, she broke down. Not because she felt powerless, but because she did have power, and she was about to use every ounce of it. A week later, we got called into the office of the Chief of Training Command. He asked us questions about those petty officers. Any other problems? We all told our stories. Times they lied, berated, manipulated. But I could tell. It didn't even matter. Their fate was already sealed. The next day, they were gone. Completely. New instructors showed up like nothing happened. Later, I stopped by the chaplain's office. She told me what she'd done. She'd gone straight to the admiral who ran the entire base and demanded both men be discharged immediately. No investigation, no drawn-out process. Just gone. The admiral agreed. Both petty officers were processed out dishonorably. No benefits, no housing, no VA, just a bus ticket home. One of them had served 18 years, 2 years shy of retirement. Gone. The other had 12. Same story. When you're discharged like that, you can't even get hired at companies with Department of Defense contracts. That includes fast food chains on base. So, yeah, they went from tough guys to jobless nobodies overnight. Meanwhile, Bill got a medical discharge. Honorable, full E5 pay for life, benefits, and therapy support. The chaplain made sure of that too. Justice served. Quietly, perfectly, completely. Years later, I saw Bill on Facebook. He'd recovered, got married, and became a police officer. Still had that same calm way of looking at life. He'd made it. As for those two bullies, nobody really knows where they ended up. But I doubt they're anywhere near a Navy base again. Revenge doesn't always need to be loud. Sometimes it's just someone in power finally standing up and saying, "This isn't right." That chaplain didn't yell, didn't threaten. She just made a phone call, and two men's entire careers disappeared. Call it karma, call it justice. Either way, it was one of the most satisfying things I've ever seen. If this story gave you chills, hit that like button. It helps more than you know. And tell me in the comments, what's the most satisfying act of justice you've ever witnessed? Because sometimes revenge isn't cruel. It's just right. And if you love stories where karma comes full circle, subscribe. There's a lot more where this came from.